Hey, what's up, everyone? I have been wanting to do this for a while because sometimes when I get the opportunity to watch something or listen to something and I'm just off the cuff saying things as I react to it, I thought I would start doing some reactions to certain interviews or podcasts or different things like that. So we're going to begin this with the interview that Porsha Williams did on the Tamron Hall show. Now, this happened right at the end of November. So this isn't that old. It's actually pretty fairly recent, especially since her new show, the Porsha Family Matters, just came out. It's only on its second episode. I don't know how many episodes the show is going to have on the Bravo network. And she's talking about her engagement and a few other things. So we're going to listen to this, and I'm just going to share my beautifully honest reactions to what she is sharing, because this is the story that one of the stories, I should say, that took over the headlines in 2021 when it came out how she was engaged to, at the time, a married man, someone that people learned about from the husband and now ex-wife, Simon Gorbadia, and Fallon, now Pina, being on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and she coming over to their house. And she was introduced to us via Porsha being a friend. Now, she said they weren't really friends, but we're just going to get into this interview, and I'm just going to share my honest reactions to this.
Joining the Tam Fam today live, Porsha Williams. Welcome, Porsha. How you guys doing? Hi. You look beautiful. Welcome to the show.
From afar.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome. So
Good to be here.
It is great to have you here, because word on the street is you're a little nervous.
Am I?
That's what I was told.
I actually feel really good today.
I'm happy.
Like, the energy in your studio is awesome.
I'm so happy to hear that, because, you know, we're live, and prior to the show, I was hearing from my team, listen, this is a big interview. She's really laying it all to bear, and she's nervous. And I thought, that is the opposite of Porsha Williams, nervous. And I stopped myself and I said, you know what, that's exactly the problem. We see people and we don't humanize. We think we know the whole story. And now you're giving it to us.
Right, absolutely. You know, I feel like my nervousness is because, you know, the book was a lot for me. It really was. It took me some time to get to the place to be ready to speak to a lot of different things in the book. I knew if I ever did a book, it needed to be 100% honest and transparent.
All right. We're going to stop it right there and pause for a moment. Now, she, I feel, was trying to butter up the audience because everyone in the audience seems to be socially distanced and they have on masks. And so for her to say, yeah, you know, the energy in the audience is amazing. I feel really good, positive energy in here. She doesn't want people to scoff at her. She doesn't want people to look at her in a way of like being a harlot or or being a skank or a floozy or a hoe or whatever, you know, a man stealer, whatever. Because this, her saying, when Tamron says, I was told that you were really nervous, that I believe that was true, because Porsha definitely has been judged based on what she has put out there and the actions that she has taken. And people can say no one has a right to judge anyone, but when you do certain things, people are going to give their opinion about it. That's just the fact of the matter. So her actions and what she has done, and even this book that she is out here promoting, there's some things that she talks about that gives people the reason to give her the side eye. So her saying that she wants to butter up the audience to make them feel like, you know, I'm a nice person. Please don't be harsh on me. I'm here to be open with you guys and share. So just give me a chance. And, you know, that's fair. But yeah.
And in order for my book to be effective in the purpose of the book, which is to inspire someone else, tell my testimony so someone else can see themselves in my story, I had to really revisit some very emotional, painful things in my past. And so I was nervous to release that.
Yeah.
But
A lot
I
of this
do
didn't
feel
even come up on the
now.
show. So a lot of this did not come up on the show.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. I do speak about housewives. I mean, how could I write a whole book and leave out 10 years of my life?
Yeah.
But a lot of the book is from childhood, focuses on 20 to 30 years old. Because that's when I really dealt with a lot of pitfalls I found myself in, some bad decisions.
I found it to be so touching and revealing. You talk about your childhood, and one of the things you revealed in the book is that as a child, you had contemplated suicide. You said, I couldn't tell my mom that I'd held a bottle of pills, thinking about swallowing all of them, but deciding against it because I feared I'd be brain dead, and I definitely didn't want that to be. You were a kid. What was causing, or what did you learn was at the heart of these feelings for such a young kid to think about?
At that age, I didn't know what was causing it. I wanted to make sure I discussed it in the book because it's something that parents don't think about.
How old were you when you had your first thought of suicide?
I'm not sure exactly. I can't remember. I was definitely probably around the age of 10.
That's crazy to hear about her having thoughts of taking herself out of here around the age of 10 years old when she started to really start feeling that way. And then you see stories these days about 10 and 11-year-olds that actually are committing those acts. It's super sad, and you have to be in a place. You hear a lot of stories now about children that age who have been bullied to the point of them just saying, you know, I don't want to go back to school anymore, and my parent just doesn't really get it, but I am tired of going back to this place where I am being traumatized. And so because I have to continue to go back to school and face these bullies and these demons, then I don't think I have any other choice but to do this. That's really sad.
I had dealt with a lot of bullying in school. I didn't think much of myself, even though I had such a strong mother and a great provider. I had my father there as well. So I had a support system. And that's why I wanted to talk about it, because it's not just kids who've been neglected who find themselves in those dark places. And this conversation needs to be had so mothers and their kids, fathers and their kids can talk about this. That was really, really tough for me to revisit, even as a grown woman. Because when you think of depression, now when I think of it now and I identify as, okay, that's depression. I didn't know then, when I took the scarf and put it on the door, what that action was. I didn't really know. All I can say at this moment, it was by the grace of God to save me in that moment. Because you, as a child, you don't think that once you stop your breath, it doesn't come back.
To hear her speak this way, Porsha really is a smart person. I believe she plays the dumb role a lot for the sake of trying to be like a Barbie doll type of figure on social media, and, you know, and play up that, you know, all beauty and no brains sort of thing, like the black blonde sort of situation. But to hear her speak this way, I mean, you can clearly tell that this is who she is. This isn't something that she was fed or had a PR person write up for her. So she would, you know, say the right thing to answer any sort of question with regard to that situation or those situations that she wrote about in her book. And yeah, she's absolutely right. You could have a support system at home, but still be in a dark place, a place of depression and a place of not really wanting to even live anymore, which is really sad. So I'm glad to hear that she is speaking on situations like that, because there are a lot of people that look up to her, and she needs to use her platform to be someone that is really responsible to help people that are looking up to her and see her as a role model, and not just looking at, oh, well, she is a sex symbol, I want to be an Insta thought too, and I want to be an Instagram model or whatever, and just aspiring to be somebody who's beautiful and posting pictures online and hoping that you make money that way. Like, there's a whole lot more out here for people if they use their brains over their beauty. But I mean, you don't hear a whole lot about that these days, so I get it.
And so I think that's why a lot of children, God rest their soul, we are suffering from that now in our nation. A lot of kids have died from suicide. So I want to talk about that. But by passing through that as a child, I kept facing those same demons over and over. And that's what the book traces, that whole journey.
You also, from childhood to your point, young adulthood, reveal something I did not know, and I don't think many people knew, this relationship with R. Kelly. And you write about him. I wanted to believe I wasn't a girl he was locking in his room to use whenever he wanted. You kept your interactions with him a secret. When he started to be accused of these crimes against young girls, and then it escalates, and then it's on trial, and he's convicted, were you thinking, I've got to tell? Or did you think, I don't want to be in the middle of this?
You know, putting R. Kelly's name in the book, because some people I named, some people I didn't name, and putting his name in the book, it's just putting a name to another face that I had already encountered before. He had just been one of the men who was a predator in my life, who had taken advantage of me and mentally.
All right, pause there. Yeah, R. Kelly definitely has been convicted of his accusations, and we're waiting for sentencing, and I believe he is up for another trial as well. Definitely true. In this situation, though, definitely had a place of power where it's like, I have something that you want, so I'm going to play this power role. Absolutely, for certain. But was he a predator? I mean, I guess you could kind of say that as a definition of a predator, someone who knows that they have power and they can have the advantage over somebody like a Porsha, who clearly wanted something that he could possibly help her to get. But were you there willingly? And then I don't know, but we'll continue this.
Abused me in my life. So I saw him no different than those same men. That same darkness, that same treatment, they faced and met the same Porsha who did not know her self-worth. I didn't love myself. I didn't see who I was in those situations. You know, I was a grown woman. I had a penthouse in Buckhead. I had my own business. I wasn't your usual so-called victim. But because as a young woman, I did not value who I was, I only wanted to be what someone else thought I needed to be.
You wrote in
so
this
that's how I
book,
found myself in those situations.
You wrote, which I think it's interesting how you say you found yourself in these situations. I felt when I was reading it, is she blaming herself for some of this? And you wrote, I'm of R. Kelly at the time. I'm in his bedroom. I've already been in his house for hours. It's 3 or 4 in the morning. I've already put myself in this position. This is what you're supposed to do. You have to do it. There's no turning back. That's what you wrote about your first one of the sexual encounters. And I thought, why is she saying this? I put myself in this position.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. I believe her saying that is because, I mean, literally she did, because I talked about this in a conversation previously, and I was concerned with her saying it that way. It made it sound like she was trying to say that he victimized her, but he didn't force himself on her. It doesn't sound like he did. She just kind of felt maybe stuck and there was no turning back. But did you say, I don't want to be here, and he made you move forward in that? It doesn't sound like that was a situation.
When I wrote those moments in the book and being that detailed, I had to go back to that mind frame. And a lot of victims do blame themselves.
Yeah.
They honestly do. We think, the public could tell you, anybody could tell you, there's every reason why you should not be there. So that causes you to blame yourself. So I did a lot of victim blaming, a lot of shaming of myself. And that's what silenced me for a very long time to speak out on any of the sexual abuse that I encountered in my life.
Okay, I believe there's a difference between blaming yourself and being like a victim blamer and shamer versus taking accountability and responsibility for your own actions. And like she just said, she was like, I'm a grown woman. I had my own penthouse in Buckhead. Like I wasn't your typical what you would see as a victim, but she didn't really know her own self-worth. So for all intents and purposes, I wouldn't say she was actually a victim, but more of someone who was vulnerable and wanted something, and she just didn't really know how to say no. But it doesn't sound like he forced himself on her or made her do something. Maybe she didn't really want to, because that happens a lot too, where someone is just like, I don't really want to do this, but I'm not going to say no, and I'm not going to put up a fight, or I'm not going to say I don't want to be here, let me go, because there's that situation. There is a line. There is a line. And to put her in the same category as someone who may say, look, I told him no and he made me do it anyway. Like I think there was a woman who used to braid his hair, the singer, and she was told by him to do something to his body part. I'm just going to leave it at that. And she didn't want to do it. And he like grabbed her head and motioned it towards that body part and did something to her face. That is completely different than what Porsha is talking about. And it sounds like she engaged in sexual acts with him several times. So you can't put yourself in that same category. It's just, that's just me. I'm just sharing my thoughts on it. You can let me know yours in the comments.
And I often thought about, oh my gosh, especially when I got on Housewives, it was like, I have this platform, people are starting to know me. Let me start using my voice. But I just felt so small still. I wasn't ready. I hadn't healed and gotten to the place to be able to speak up like those women did on the R. Kelly special. Us as victims, we have to get to a place and deal with what we went through and what our mind frame was at the time to be able to speak out and help somebody else.
It is very powerful. I do have to note that we reached out to R. Kelly's representatives for comment, and we did not hear back. Here we go. I woke up this morning, social media, tabloids, all reacting to the episode that just aired of your show.
Yes.
Your fiance, Simon. When is the
Hi,
wedding?
Boo.
When is the wedding?
Right now, we haven't set our date. We are dating right now. He's still courting me, in the
Wait,
South.
how are you engaged and dating?
You don't date your husband?
No.
All right, dating your husband, going out for dates with your husband versus you being engaged to someone and not having a wedding date set and say, well, we're still dating. Well, don't be engaged. Just date. Like, why are you engaged if you said that, well, he's still courting me? Don't try to play coy and I'm the little Southern belle, little Southern girl, and this is how we do it in the South sort of thing, because that's not what you're talking about.
Married him.
You should be dating. You should be keeping the excitement going. We're enjoying each other.
You're engaged to be married.
Right, and I'm still his special sweetheart. We are in the honeymoon phase. We're enjoying each other.
Honeymoon phase, but you're not married yet. Okay.
Yeah, it'll come.
Okay.
And you don't need to be dating.
We date.
Date nights are important. It's important.
When he proposed, we set a wedding date and we followed through.
Yes, but you want to still keep up that nice feeling, getting dressed.
Will a wedding date prevent you from doing that?
In the South, we call it.
I'm Southern.
We call it the courtship moment. And he's still just treating me so special. We just bought a home together. We're about to move in. We've got so much going on that
I'm Southern. You're buying a home before married. That breaks a Southern rule.
No,
Okay, thank you for calling her on that, Tamron, because she's talking about, well, we're in the honeymoon phase and he's courting me, but you bought a house together. I don't think that's very smart. And I just don't understand why she would do that. Well, bought a house together versus him actually buying it and you're just together, and he may say that this is our house, but is your name actually on it? Probably not, but that's, it's none of our business, of course. It's none of our business to see the deed or to see the title or, the mortgage papers. But I don't know about that. That seems very weird.
We bought a home. We already bought the home. We've closed already.
I do believe the wedding is going to proceed. I think you're holding something back. I don't know what it is. You are. I'm just being honest with you. So Simon, well, this perhaps is why. So Simon revealed on the show that his grandfather had 25 wives. That's a lot. And that prompted you apparently to ask him if he'd ever cheat. He responded, if he'd ever cheated. And he responded, of course, everybody has cheated.
I have to pause it there. I cannot stand when people use that line of everybody cheats. That is not true. Everybody is not a cheater. Everyone is not unfaithful. That is an absolute lie. I will not accept that because it's just not true. I'm not saying that that's not their situation. So he should have just spoken for himself. Don't answer the question by deflecting to say, well, everyone does it. That's like saying, well, everyone's sniffed a little coke. No, not everyone has. Everyone has smoked a cigarette once. Not everyone has smoked a cigarette. Not everyone has done everything. And so he should have just answered and said, yes, I have cheated before, and maybe turned and asked her, have you cheated? But that of course, everyone has. That's bullcrap.
Which is true for some people, not everybody.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Tamron.
And then people started commenting, believing that you were setting yourself up for a problematic relationship again.
Let's start with he's Nigerian. Hello.
What does that mean?
It's his culture. It's his culture. It's the Nigerian culture. They are allowed and is open to have multiple wives. Some have two. His father had two. Grandfather had 25, 60-something grandkids. Yeah.
Okay, well, if it's from his culture to have multiple wives, then that is not cheating. So let's just be clear with that. That is something that they have agreed upon. It is normal for his culture. That's what she says, at least. But if that is the case, then that would not be cheating, okay? And then, that's a lot.
But, you know, Simon has been in America since he was about 17 years old. And I'm American. Yeah. So we're going to have one wife and one husband.
The show is called It's My Relationship, Not Yours. And your family has come in and people have stepped in. And one of the questions that repeatedly comes up is, was there some type of line crossed with a friend in the show that has set you off on this journey where people feel like they should chime in? So the backstory for people who don't know, Simon was introduced on the show with his then wife, Fallon. At some point, that marriage ended, and you and Simon announced on social media that you were a couple. Mm-hmm. People seemed to believe that you'd crossed a friend line, that you'd broken some girl code.
Porsha has this very stern look on her face. She's just like, yeah. She's ready to have her prepared answer. I believe she had a prepared answer for that because she knew that question was coming. She's just ready to get the prepared answer out of there. So she's just like nodding her head. Like trying to keep her lips sealed, but she is ready to share her prepared answer. That's what it looks like to me. But let's just continue this.
What is the real story here?
And that's okay. You know, I dealt with everybody's opinions, but really it was the emotion of my supporters. Because they, like, oh my gosh, Porsha wouldn't dare do this. Oh my gosh, she's a husband stealer and all that. Listen, I'm on a show. Real Housewives of Atlanta is a show meant for entertainment. When we bring people on the show to try out to be casted, they have to be brought in by another cast member. And sometimes those things are kind of put in a way other than how it actually is.
So it's fake. You weren't really friends.
I wanted to be. What I wanted for her was to introduce her into the show for her to be a housewife.
All right, she's saying that they weren't friends, but she said, well, I wanted to be friends. Well, I don't think you really wanted to be friends with her if this was how you wound up with the man that she was married to, whether their relationship was working out or not. She didn't really want to be this woman's friend. Just basically come out and say, look, it was fake. We weren't really friends. I knew of her. I was trying to bring her onto the show, introduce her to become a housewife. But no, we weren't really friends. So no, she wasn't my friend. I didn't owe her anything. That's really what she just wanted to just come out and say. And it's apparent that no, you were not friends.
But it didn't work out. She ended up wanting to be friends with someone else. And,
my head is spinning.
Long story short,
okay, I get what she meant by that when she said she wound up wanting to be friends with someone else. clearly Porsha and Kenya are arch nemesis, of each other. They do not like each other. And it has been reported that they, were friends. They became friendly and they really respected each other. And Porsha doesn't want to be friends with Kenya, and she doesn't want to be friends with anyone who is a friend of Kenya. So that clearly was not going to, work out. With sometimes they do develop friendships with the people who come on the show. But yeah, she, saying, well, she wound up wanting to become friends with someone else. She's basically saying, well, you know what? She became a friend of Kenya, so it just wasn't going to happen.
Long story short, they didn't choose her.
Yeah.
Was she a friend of mine? No. She was going to be casted on the show. It didn't work out for her. Simon and I actually have mutual friends, and I've met him over the years here and there. And, so for me.
So she was fake because on the show, when Fallon was introducing her, quote unquote, to Porsha and Tanya and Porsha's sister Lauren, when they came over to Fallon and Simon's house, Fallon was introducing Simon to the ladies, and Porsha, she fist bumped Simon, acting like that was her first time meeting him. But she just said, we have mutual friends. We met each other here and there over the years. She didn't say at the time, oh yeah, I remember you from such and such or whatever. She was just trying to make it seem like to Fallon that she didn't know this guy from a can of paint. So she was lying there.
There was no personal connection with her when it came to him. So that's the thing that people didn't know that caused them to really come hard at me. And it's okay. I'm a grown woman. I know that I'm on Housewives and it looks a certain way and you're gonna have your opinions. And sometimes we ask for your opinions. If I wanna be successful and show my personal life, then I'm asking for your opinions.
That's true, because if you're going to be on shows like this, you have to expect people to give their judgments, give their opinions on what you are putting out there, what you are sharing, and this is what she's sharing. So for the people who say, well, you need to mind your own business, that's Porsha's life, and she didn't steal anybody, and you can't steal a man or whatever, whatever, people are going to give their opinions because of what she is choosing to put out there, period.
And so may not always match up, but now hopefully people get what's happening.
And what is happening is that you feel you have found true love.
Well, she's just delivered a baby, so congratulations. It's in order.
Okay, I get it. She's like, well, look, I could say some things about Fallon, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to try to play nicey nice. And hey, by the way, she just had a baby with somebody else. So get off of my back about my relationship with Simon, because it is clearly over between him and Fallon. Okay.
She's engaged, so all adults involved are happy. Yeah.
Tamron's giving this laugh okay, bitch, I see you. So, yeah, all right. Mm-hmm.
The bottom line is, though, you have found someone you believe that is your life partner.
That is my life partner, for sure, absolutely.
Well,
I'm in love. I'm just so blessed to be in this place in my life. When you get to a place where you're living in your truth and you really get to know yourself, during quarantine, I really looked at myself. That's when I wrote this book. To know yourself is to truly.
Porsha, you didn't write that book. You had a ghostwriter. You shared some of your stories. And hey, that's okay. Most celebrities do that. They don't have the time to sit and write a book like that. But okay, it's cute to say, yeah, during quarantine, I had downtime, so I wrote this book. No, you didn't.
Love yourself. All my faults, everything in that book, ups and downs, mistakes, bad decisions. I love Porsha and I know Porsha. So when I presented me to this man, Simon, he was meeting me in my truest self. So I knew my decision to say yes, no matter how fast it was.
Well,
I trusted my decision.
Listen, the speed, all of it are your decisions that you've made.
Yeah.
And most important, and besides the drama, whether it's real or not on the show, I deeply admire how vulnerable you were in talking about suicide as it relates to children and sexual abuse that far too many women experience and suffer in silence. For that, I applaud what you've done.
And I get it. Tamron's just like, look, I'm not condoning what you did and how you got with the dude, but you talking about real situations where it involves children, childhood bullying, and how it can drive people to make choices and decisions that they can't take back. For that, I applaud you. But the other stuff, I'm not here for it. That's basically what Tamron's saying. Overall, I would say it was a good interview. Tamron had all the opportunity to try to go in on Porsha, but that I don't believe that is really her style. And Porsha, she made it known by letting the background people know on the show that she was really nervous. So she was just kind of preparing Tamron for not to go for the jugular when she came out there. But I think overall, Porsha's interview was good. She held up really well. And I could tell the areas where she was just 100% sincere. I'm not going to say she wasn't sincere in the interview, but you could tell where she was just 100% honest and truthful. And then the other moments where she was just on the bubblehead type of stuff where, giving cutesy answers and, and just trying to be like, back off, because whatever's going on right now is what's going on. And there's nothing anybody can do about it until I make the change. And that's true. I mean, it is the truth. But Porsha, you're still in pursuit of who you are, and and I'm happy that she's in a place where she feels happy. I get it, but I'm just really interested to know if this marriage is actually going to happen. But we will see. But anyway, you all let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comment section. I appreciate you spending the time with me as I gave my beautifully honest reaction to this interview, and I would love to know yours. So until the next time, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And as always, I'm just being beautifully honest. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And until the next time, I'm just being beautifully honest.